Super Bowl appearances based on how he handled the 2020 draft.
This is Sunday Karma, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Here's GKB founder and CEO, Craig Karmazin.
I thought this show got canceled.
Did you get a notice that it got canceled?
No, but just like this whole cancel culture going on these days, I was sure we were out of here.
What did we say?
I don't know. I just, what was the last time we were on? Like 2022?
Feels like it. We definitely have not. I think the last time we were on, the Packers may have beat the Bears.
The last time we were on, the Packers were good, and now the Packers are good again. How about that?
That's all it takes.
That is shocking. By the way, how about the resiliency? How about the resiliency of your Wisconsin football teams?
Yeah, this is special. This was a special 2 weeks, Craig.
Right? Isn't this like... This is like peak... I don't know. I didn't buy into the Chargers win at all. Like, to me...
Really?
Yeah.
That is surprising.
Did you watch that game?
I know. I was on the sandy beaches of Mexico, and I got to see the highlights. And the fact that the Packers played a team that struggled just like they did to finish and close games, and the Packers were the team to find a victory. I thought that was a good step in the right direction after the Steelers game.
I don't know. I was cynical watching that game that there was really that much there, given the fumbles, like all the self-implosions of the Chargers that the Chargers do against everybody. Like they did it against the Packers, and I wasn't buying it in that way. But if you look at the Badgers and Coach Fickell, which this team, losing to Indiana and Northwestern, I mean, Indiana's coach just got fired, and they beat the Badgers. How many times? Like, you beat the Badgers and you still get fired at Indiana? I mean, that's pretty pathetic for the Badgers.
Usually beating the Badgers is a launching pad. You saw for Illinois last year when they beat the Badgers, all of a sudden they're in the conversation. And this year, Northwestern's coach, they beat the Badgers, and what happens? He gets not a contract extension. He gets the interim label taken off. So usually it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's not like we're talking Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, even Michigan State. But if you're outside of those schools and you beat Wisconsin, usually it's part of like a good kind of surprising season you've had. But, I mean, you think about the Badger football team left for absolute dead, kind of gutless. I mean, your co-host Brad Nortman talked about it. I mean, gutless performances, all of that, you guys had we'd never seen before. And now to see the Badgers finish the way they have, pull out that Nebraska game, pull out the game for the Axe, which I think means something. Like, if you're like, oh, that game, that shows the Badgers are back to being nobodies, that's the biggest game of the year, forget that. Like, there's not like a reason on paper that Wisconsin has to be better than Minnesota every year. So I'm going to appreciate that win. I'm going to appreciate Braylon Allen and how his season turned around, where it looked like there was issues, whether it was coaching, whether then it was health. There seemed like a lot of things going on there at the start of the season. And the fact that he's going to be back to 1,000 yards and 10 double-digit touchdowns again is pretty incredible for him. And then you take Jordan Love, who, you got to admit, Kyle, I've never, since the season started, I've been telling you.
You have not been on air through the downs.
I've told you Jordan Love is doing his thing the whole year, and that all you have to point to, yes,
I cannot accept that. We have legitimately been off air through when the Packers went on their 4-game losing streak. When the Packers were struggling and Jordan Love wasn't playing well, we were not on air. You didn't have an opportunity to actually react to the poor play. I can't give you a pass on that. You go see.
I was at that Raiders game when he threw the late interception. I saw it all, and I was on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy every week, and I was saying the same thing.
Okay,
like you have inexperienced guys at the skill positions. You have no offensive line. You have a guy who's learning for the first time. He's going to make some bad throws, but Jordan Love's this season has been incredible. But the thing to me that blows this all away is, aren't the Packers the team that doesn't score in the first half? Right? Like, didn't we go like a month without them having a point in the first half? And the way they came out against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving, a team that in Lambeau on Thursday Night Football had just taken the hearts from the Green Bay Packers. That was stunning. And that the Packers withstood the run, the push, the Jack Harlow concert, everything, and were able to win that game and win that game convincingly. I mean, that is a Matt LaFleur. I mean, that's up there for him. I know it sounds weird for a guy who was in the NFC Championship, that game is, in the NFC Championship with home field advantage, that game is one of his most impressive wins of his career. But I don't know how you argue it's not. And he was the third biggest upset in the last 50 years on Christmas. I mean, on Thanksgiving, that is a massive, massive win, not just for Jordan Love, but for Matt LaFleur.
No, it's a big win for Matt LaFleur, and I would argue say it's one of his biggest coaching career wins. It might be the biggest one because when you have Aaron Rodgers, you're more of a front runner because you have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. When you have a young team that has the youngest receiving corps in the NFL, a quarterback who is a first-year starter in NFL, and you're trying to figure things out, you have the downs that you have. As you just mentioned, this Packers team couldn't score in the first half. To go to Detroit, to beat a team that destroyed you and demoralized you just a couple weeks back, this was very impressive. This could be a launching pad for the rest of the season and what this Green Bay Packers franchise could be for the next decade.
But I don't know. I don't even know if I'm more impressed with what he did or with what happened in Madison over the last, we'll call it, 20 days, right?
They played some scrubs, though.
But November 11th was the date of the game at home. I don't know which was worse. Because Northwestern's got a good record this year.
The Northwestern game was pathetic.
But Northwestern at home, there was just nothing to them. The Indiana game at least felt like there was a fight and like you felt like there was something there. So you lose that game at home against Northwestern, and that was, 15 days ago? And the fact that they have come back in these last 2 weeks and won at home against Nebraska and then at Minnesota for the Axe, which I would call two of the three most comparable programs to Wisconsin right now. Okay? We understand Luke Fickell's not here to be comparable with Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota, but that's the facts right now, right?
I would agree.
Iowa's obviously better than them, and Iowa won the division by a few games.
Yeah, Iowa, it's just... Yeah,
but not that much better, right?
They played. Iowa was 15-6,
right?
And they had many opportunities. They just had a backup quarterback was in basically a whole second half,
right? Who hadn't had the experience that he ended up getting later. Even if he had played later in the season, he may have played better against Iowa than he did. So if you look at that, if they beat Indiana or Northwestern and they beat Iowa, I know there's a lot of ifs now because they probably didn't deserve to beat Illinois, but if you throw all those ifs there, then they're winning the division.
They weren't far off. And here's another thing you got to throw in there. And I don't want to make excuses, but they did lose Tanner Mordecai. They battled a lot of injuries. Braylon was hurt all season. If this team stays healthy, it does not happen in college football, I feel like this team has a better opportunity.
Remember, they didn't score in the first half with Tanner Mordecai against Iowa.
He got hurt late, but my trust is that when they had the game close, that team, when they drove the ball downfield and they couldn't find a way to get into the end zone, I trust that Tanner Mordecai would have used his legs to try to score. But regardless, you know how low it got? I was at that Northwestern game, and Craig, never have I been at a game where in the fourth quarter is out of reach, and we're just excited to score a touchdown. That's how pathetic that it got, that I was at Madison against Northwestern.
And what was it, like 24-3, and then they got a touchdown to make it 24-10?
Something like that, yeah. It was pathetic. That was rock bottom.
Think about these two teams and what they have done and the character they've shown. And the reason I give Fickell maybe a little more credit than I give LaFleur is just because they're not professionals in college. And it would have been a little easier for them to pack up, especially in this age of transfer portal and all that, right? It would have been easy for guys to be like, all right, this ain't it. I'm out of here in 2 weeks. I don't want to get hurt. I'm not going to push it that hard. But the fact that they pull out the game against Nebraska, and I don't know where you stand on Braylon Allen. And
what do you mean?
I don't know where you, like, if you count him as, like, amongst the real ones in a history of Badger running backs, which I feel like you don't.
Absolutely not.
I do.
That's a terrible take. I can tell you. You can go ahead and tell. I can tell you it's a terrible take.
Okay, tell me why it's a terrible take.
It's a terrible take because Braylon Allen, though he is talented, he is not super talented where he has breakaway speed. On top of that, we know that Braylon Allen, the last 2 years, his mind has been set on one thing: the NFL. Remember last season where Braylon would run out of bounds? You are 6'2", 240 pounds, and instead of running somebody over to get that extra yard and trying to get your team hyped up, you are running out of bounds to
that
protect
is such
your
a stale take.
It's not
that
a stale
is such
take.
a stale last year take. Then why did he play against Nebraska?
He played.
Then why did he play against Nebraska?
Listen, he played against Nebraska because at the end of the day, he does care about his teammates and he wants to win.
Exactly. So don't give me that he ran out of bounds on 2 plays in 2022.
2 plays my behind. Just because you have 2 games that really matter to you, and that's the time that you stepped up. He battled through an injury. I understand that, but at the end of the day,
if your one knock on him is that he's caring more about his NFL career than his college career, then don't look at these last 2 games. Him gutting out the win. They do not win that game against Nebraska. And yesterday, he single-handedly, they do not win that game yesterday without him. And don't say they do.
He played with a chip on his shoulder. When he's motivated to run in that way, he did not run that way the entire season the last 2 years. When he's motivated, you know what he wanted? He wanted the fact that 2 years ago when he played against Minnesota, he only had 47 yards. He's motivated by the fact that he never got a chance to chop down the goalpost with the axe because he never won the axe.
Right, that's what a real one does. That's what
a real one does it every single game. They don't sit there and take the pick and choose when they want to play. I've seen so many times that Braylon Allen will go out on the sideline and then they get into the red zone. He wants to get in and get the touchdown. Listen, the kid he's a great kid. He's a great athlete. He's going to do okay in the NFL.
You're like, he's a great kid. He's a great athlete, but I'm going to rip him.
No, he's no Melvin Gordon. How many times do you see Jonathan Taylor ever tap himself out the game? That's what I'm saying. How many times you see Jonathan Taylor run out of bounds? You didn't. You asked me, was he a great one? Is he a running back in Wisconsin?
All right. Now I'm not putting him on Mount Rushmore now.
But
I'm not putting him on Mount Rushmore with Dane, Taylor,
he's not even close
Gordon.
To Mount Rushmore.
God, who's the 4th?
He's probably.
Wait, by the way, who's the 4th?
I guess you have to
because it can't be Moss. I mean, Moss.
You have to go with Monty Ball, right?
Moss is before your time.
Yeah, Brent Moss was before my time.
Brent Moss is got it all going.
You can give it to Brent,
but they had Faulkner too, who I think's now is that the offense coordinator of the Steelers, Eddie Faulkner. Is that the same Eddie Faulkner? It's got to be, right? So I'm not saying he is Mount Rushmore, but if you look, and maybe I'll 7 at 11 you on this.
P.J. Hill, I throw him in there. John Clay, Corey Clement.
I'm saying he's with those guys.
Well, those are all the running backs Wisconsin has had.
No, but those are elite guys. That's running back you. Like, you can't, this guy now has gone 3 straight years where assuming, he gets a touch or 2, he's going to be over 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. Do you know how many people have done that?
He's not playing in a bowl game.
3 years of 1,000?
He's not even going to play in a bowl game. I don't want to hear this. He's not even going to play. He knew this was his last game yesterday. He knew it. He knew the last game, he's a junior, and he knew the home game they had that they won, that was going to be his last home game. He knows it's over, Craig.
Wait, has he said that?
No, they asked him after the game, is this your last game? He said, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. And he smiled. This is his last game.
I don't know.
Then if last game.
All right, that might change my thoughts a little bit. But it also would say that he's not as stat driven, right? Because he's at 974 yards. So if he didn't want to play that just to get his 1,000 yards, I'd be surprised.
You know what he wants? He wants to get drafted, and I'm not mad at him. Every little kid's dream that grows up playing football is to be drafted. I'm not mad at him, but you asked me. The question you asked me was, is he in that elite level? I mean, he was a great running back at Wisconsin, but he didn't give me the effort he gave against Minnesota every single week. If he gives me that effort every single week, maybe we're talking about a different season this season.
By the way, is how running backs are treated in the NFL now. Does that change, though, how you have to think about your career and how you have to think about yourself as a college player?
I would actually think so.
You know what? Knowing the shelf life and the way running backs don't get paid and the way you have a short, all that. I mean, I mean, if you're Braylon Allen, don't you have to think about things maybe a little different than some of those guys did 10, 15 years ago?
No, you do have to think about taking care of your body.
Now, James White kind of had the opposite career of that. James White had the career where it just kept going and going and going, and no one ever saw it coming, and then he was basically like the MVP of a Super Bowl.
He was never the featured back, so it went perfect for him. He was on a lot of great teams where he had a role.
I don't know if he ever got paid, but besides that, it went pretty well for him. I mean,
he's on TV now.
An incredible career for James White, and he definitely was always seen as one of those guys at Wisconsin, even though he shared the carries and kind of never had a, He
had a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah. But I'm saying he didn't have a 2-3 year where it was like, 1,500 yards. Like, he didn't have like that Melvin Gordon, type Jonathan Taylor tear that he went on. But he was, elite running back for the Badgers in so many ways. All right. We're already behind, but what an exciting last 2 weeks. I mean, this is wild what is going on with the Packers. We got to talk about now what comes next with, I guess, both of these teams. We'll talk more about it. The Packers and the Badgers. And your thoughts as well. Jump in. 800-990-3776. 800-990-3776. Are you sold on one of the teams or both of the teams, the direction now? Because as of a few weeks ago, we didn't hear a lot of people coming to Matt LaFleur and Luke Fickell's defense. Based on what you've seen the last 2 weeks, I want to hear, talk and text line, are you a believer in the trajectory, in the direction of your football teams? 800-990-3776. That's 800-990-ESPN. Hit us up, text us, or better yet, give us a call. Would love to chat with you. It's been way too long. But we're back. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Football guy.
What the hell happened to Bucky on your hat?
Football guy.
A lot of wear and tear for old B.
Coming at it from different views.
I'm just saying he's well worn. I mean, his face is missing.
Okay, well, it's probably time for me to freshen that up. Bucky wants to flip you off right now.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Cheers to selection and savings. They are worth celebrating. I mean, have you tried to buy a car, a house, or even lumber lately? Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor, where, since 1960, we've consistently provided the best selection and the lowest prices in southeastern Wisconsin. We stock literally thousands of varieties of beer, liquor, and wine. Over 14,000 actually, but who's counting? The point is, you want it, odds are we have it. And what about our prices? Oh, they're low, really low. Our long-standing relationships and enormous buying power allow us to pass savings directly to you. The result? Low prices every single day. I'll drink to that. Discount Liquor, locally owned and family operated with 2 locations. In Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
Discount Liquor.
Bikers need protection, not just from other drivers, but unfortunately from insurance companies too. If you've been injured in a motorcycle crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Bikers are often blamed for causing the accident because the insurance companies simply don't want to pay. At Gruber Law Offices, we've been fighting for injured bikers and their families for more than 30 years. Trust us to fight for what you deserve. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Q Club of Wisconsin is a hangout spot for watching sports, playing games, and having some drinks. Mike, what do you have going on over there?
That's right, Gary. We've got so much going on here. And of course, you know we're your home for green and gold games every week. Plus, book our VIP area for any of your parties, which includes a private pool table, 2 shuffleboard tables, and 4 dartboards. And of course, our fish fry piled high on Wednesdays and Fridays.
All happening at the Q Club of Wisconsin, North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Check out QClubofWisconsin.com.
We've told you about Moses Hadara.
The diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
the magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Geniuses who create wonderful, spectacular,
crazy diamond shapes.
The one thing these crazy genius diamonds all have in common
is that they explode with light.
The Kessler Emerald Cut diamond sends out rippling waves of light, like water lapping onto a beach.
The Kessler Square Radiant Diamond glows like the sun on the horizon.
Sometimes sunrise,
sometimes sunset.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Ask to see the rippling waves of light, like water on the beach.
Ask to see the glow that looks like sunrise and sunset.
Ask to see the Kessler Crazy Genius Diamonds.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. She 28, telling me I'm still a baby. I get love in Detroit like Skillet, baby. And the thing about your boy is
it's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Young J-A-C-K-A-K-A Rico like Suave, Young Enrique speaking.
The fact that the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe was Wisconsin's Super Bowl this year is something to be proud of. It is not something to be snobby about. Like, I hate when fan bases get like that, and you've seen it, right? Like, look at Nebraska now. Florida State's taken, 15 years to get back? When fan bases start being like, oh yeah, we're 9-2. This isn't good enough. We should be in the national championship. I'm sick of this. Like, come on. Like, you need to appreciate what you do to get to beat those rivalry games. And, the fact that Wisconsin went out and beat Nebraska and Minnesota is a big deal. I know it shouldn't feel like that for those of you who are thinking, CFP and all that. But, it wasn't realistic. It wasn't realistic at all. And now you can look back and say, and I still want everyone to remember, they probably shouldn't have won Illinois. But if you beat Indiana, which was right there, and you beat Iowa, you're playing for a Big Ten championship next week. Like, that's how close Wisconsin was in a season with a new head coach and a lot of change to get there. So I know Chris McIntosh, as of 2 weeks ago, was taking a lot of heat, right? There was a lot of, do you regret Paul Chryst not being here right now?
After the Northwestern loss, you heard the rumblings of, Jimmy Leonhard, and that's exactly why Jimmy Leonhard couldn't be on this staff, because if this type of season happened, everybody's looking down like, did we make the right decision? The players in the locker room thinking about, maybe Jimmy Leonhard should have been the guy, and there's a divisive in the divide, so this is why.
Yeah, it is why. And with the Packers, it was the opposite, right? Like, it wasn't like, oh, should we have done this or should we have done that? It was just like, oh, we're done. Like, this team's got nothing. Now we understand, like, everything that Aaron was thinking, like, all that stuff was going through people's minds. And now you look 2 weeks later, it just doesn't make sense that they could have won that game, right? Like, if you, either game, by the way. But, the Lions game was the one that was crazy to think. Do you remember what the score was when they played the Lions last time?
I believe it was like 30-14, 17, something like that.
It was 34-20.
34-20.
But it was 27-3 at the half.
Yeah, we got manhandled. Absolutely manhandled.
It was 27-3 at the half, and the rest of the game was the Lions just Thursday night football, just like chilling, right? Like, because they didn't want to get hurt. They didn't need to push anything too hard. But the Packers had lost consecutive games to the Lions, Raiders, Broncos, Vikings. Then they beat a backup quarterback at home against the Rams. Then they lost to the Steelers, right? So that was the stretch that we're talking about. And that Rams game was not impressive. Let's be honest.
It was puke.
Yes. And it was closer than the 20-3 score, actually, for a puke game.
It was.
So then you come back and you beat the Chargers at home. And again, that game, as I told you, I wasn't there. I wasn't like, oh, the Pack is back. And I don't know if I'm still the Pack is back on a short week. Lions maybe overlooking them a little bit after they had manhandled them. Thanksgiving. I don't know. I'm not Pack is back just yet. Are you Pack is back after Thursday?
I think
after back-to-back wins?
My belief was if the Packers won on Thursday, they would be going to the playoffs because this game is a huge game because of what happened the first time. And you beat the Chargers and you roll in on a short week with who you are missing and you win that football game, the Packers will make the playoffs.
Well, and so if you're counting wins, you're going to have to count the Giants, Buccaneers, Panthers, and then either Vikings or Bears. I guess you're going to count Bears because you're home there. So are you counting at Vikings?
The Packers can beat the Vikings because they do have a backup quarterback. Justin Jefferson.
They're not going to be that consistent, right? The Packers aren't. So, but let's just say they could win those games. Giants, Buccaneers, Panthers, Bears, right? Giants are at New Jersey, but the Giants are terrible. That's winnable. Buccaneers at home, winnable. Tough game. Buccaneers are probably a slightly better team than the Packers, but at home, winnable. Panthers, bad team, on the road, absolutely winnable. Bears, last game of the season. Who knows what'll even be going on with Justin Fields by then. Very winnable. So those 4 games, if they win those 4 games, that puts you at 9 wins, 9-8. You know, I counted a loss at home against the Chiefs this week, and then and then that loss against the Vikings.
Taylor Swift watch. She's going to be there.
9-8. You think that gets you in?
I believe in the NFC. If you look at the NFC overall, there was a whole bunch of 5-7 teams going into this, or 4 and 6 teams going into this week, and the Packers were one of them. And there are a whole bunch of hodgepodge, not great football teams. The Washington Commanders are one of those teams. I believe.
Forget about those teams. So it's really about
the Packers.
No, you got to assume to get in, you need to either pass realistically the Vikings or the Seahawks.
And the Seahawks have a very tough schedule.
I'm saying
and the Vikings are up. You have a chance against the Vikings on the second to last game of the year. The Green Bay Packers are going to make the playoffs, Greg. They have momentum. They have belief.
If let's count wins for the Vikings. Are you giving them one today at home against the Bears? I think you got to, if we're playing it that way.
It's tough.
It's tough.
The Bears fought last week against the Lions.
How about then at Raiders, at Bengals?
They're gonna lose at least one of those games.
They got to win 2 or 3 of those.
But they're gonna lose because Jake Brownie's not gonna be terrible, and they're gonna
Aiden O'Connell.
They're gonna lose one of those 2 games because their quarterback is Joshua Dobbs.
So then they have the Lions twice, and then they have the Packers.
They may get swept by the Lions because the Lions will have to win those games.
Yeah. If you're counting wins, it's 2 or 3. So that either puts them at 8 or 9 or 9-8, and definitely huge game against the Packers.
What I'm realizing,
that game might be for a playoff spot.
And that game is, I believe, Sunday Night Football because it's on the New Year's Eve. And the Packers were so bad, I was planning on that game getting flexed out to an earlier time. I was going to have my, Green Bay game day was going to be earlier during the day. I was going to be able to hang out during the day and prepare myself for the nighttime. But instead, I'm going to be doing Green Bay game day that night because that will be a big game.
And that game's in Minnesota, 7:20 New Year's Eve. Now, last team to look at, like you said, is the Seahawks. Right? Because if we're really counting wins here and looking at how the Packers actually get into the playoffs as a 9-8 team, you have to look at the 6-5 Seahawks, who are going to lose to the Cowboys this week. Then they're going to lose to the 49ers. Then they're going to lose to the Eagles. So then they'll be sitting at 6-8. They'll probably beat the Titans, put them at 7-8. They have the Cardinals the last week of the year that puts them at 8-8. And then the game for them is also on New Year's Eve, which is hosting the Steelers. They win that game, they get to 9 wins also.
2 teams who will have to play. I'm telling you right now, it is lining up for the Green Bay Packers and the way their schedule is set up. And remember, the Packers have been competitive in almost every single game this year. The Packers are going to make the playoffs, Craig.
We'll talk to Jason Wilde about it next. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Ancestry makes the perfect gift to give people because it literally blew my mind.
It's literally like you're giving them something that they would have no knowledge of.
Which is very important because for us to basically be able to find our missing family or to see my indigenous heritage confirmed inside there. It's one gift, but it's so many different things.
Show someone where they came from this holiday season with Ancestry DNA. Now on sale at Ancestry.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee, the voice of Green Bay football. You know, fans count on me to make the right call every time, and I can continue to do that thanks to Summit Eye Care of Wisconsin. When my vision began to drift, my eye doctor said Summit Eye Care was the best place to go. Using the latest adjustable implants, the doctors at Summit were able to fine-tune my vision. In fact, my vision is now the best it's ever been. Summit Eye Care was the right call to help me see all the action on game days.
To schedule an appointment at one of their locations, visit summitiwi.com.
Here in Wisconsin, a good old-fashioned is an important way of life. And that's where my friends at Perky's Old Fashioned come in. Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel here to tell you about the easiest way to put together an Old Fashioned. Perky's offers both brandy and bourbon Old Fashioned mixes. And get this, the booze is already in there. Just add the soda of your choosing, and you'll have Grandma Perky's Old Fashioned in the palm of your hand. Perky's is locally made and great for get-togethers of all kinds. Get perked up and head to perkysspirits.com for your nearest Perky's location.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, founder of Right Choice Tax Resolution, and best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. Why do so many people live years with back tax problems? You didn't file one year because you were sick or thought you couldn't pay. Then next year you didn't file again. Soon you think you can't file. You do things that don't make sense or may be illegal. Don't bury your head in the sand and hope the problem will go away. It will only get worse unless you make the right choice and step up to get them off your back. Do you want your paycheck garnished, a lien on your house, your passport revoked, or your bank account wiped out? We help reduce or eliminate penalties, negotiate payment plans, and file back tax returns. My latest book has advice on what to do to avoid trouble with the IRS. Make the right choice. Go to rightchoicetax.us to book a call or in-person meeting right now. We know you want to take the first step in getting the IRS off your back so you can live again. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Get to and from every home game in Green Bay this football season safely. Milwaukee Broadhouse, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Course all offer transportation on game days. They've got bus services with private restrooms and all-you-can-drink packages. Book your round-trip ride from any of these locations and get complimentary access to an all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate at the bar on Holmgren Way. Make your reservations now. There's still room for the December 3rd game. Visit MilwaukeeBroadhouse.com to book your trip today and use code ESPN23 for 10% off.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Just said my grace and then I ate. Got a particular taste. I just stuffed my pockets in my face. Okay, let's have a debate. We talking about popping, I promise I'm feeling the way. I took the bodies up out of my...
Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
Jason Wilde joins us at a time where the Wisconsin football programs are on a high point. As must Jason be coming off a Thanksgiving weekend. Good morning, Jason.
What is this show? I didn't know this was still on the air even.
I know. I said I didn't know if we were canceled because we were bad or canceled like in a cancel culture, but I was pretty sure this show was done at some point.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we're doing it.
And
a Sunday without the Packers, so we've got Sunday Karma. I'm excited.
And now I feel like the Packers are good again, so they're going to start playing at 3:15 in night games. So this show's going to be back because the reason we weren't on was because there were all those noon games, and now the Pack is back, right, Jason?
Prime time game next week, which I think maybe a month ago we were wondering if it might get flexed out of the Sunday night slot. Now, very much going to be in Sunday Night Football. So, I mean, maybe it would have been anyway with the Taylor Swift factor. But, yeah, they seem, emphasis on seem, to have kind of figured some things out offensively. But, again, I still believe that ups and downs are still ahead. There's probably a loss to a team that we don't think they should lose to anymore now. So it's going to be an interesting ride the last 6 games.
So Kyle was just counting wins with me, and he said now that they beat the Lions, they're definitely a playoff team. You're not drinking that same juice as Kyle here?
I think there's a better chance of them being a playoff team than I thought there would be. I think I even said to Homer on Green Bay game night after they won against the Chargers that I said if they steal one of these next 2, I like their chances to make the playoffs, and I stand by that. I firmly believe that. And they stole one, so now I like their chances. I'm not ready to proclaim them, but, Kyle's been known to overreact from time to time, and I'm going to say that maybe he's getting a little Tausch-like over his skis on this one.
Really?
A little premature, but not too bad. Yeah.
Now, I'm saying they stole the Chargers game. I didn't leave that game feeling like the Packers were good. I felt like that was like what the Chargers do, and between the drop pass, the fumbles, like I didn't feel like I didn't feel that way, but they didn't steal that game against the Lions, right? Like they came out and like.
What I mean by no. What I mean by steal it is those are the Lions game and the Chiefs game. No one expected them to win. They were 8.5-point underdogs on Thanksgiving. So by steal it, not by the way they played, by the fact that no one's expecting them to win, and they won that one. So that steals it in the one-loss column. Now, I agree. They did not steal the Lions game. They outplayed the Lions. They got after Jared Goff and forced fumbles. They made plays offensively. It is a little bit funny to me that we're talking about, how they really seem to have found something offensively after a game where they still, 29 points is still a good number. But there were some series where you were like, okay, I'm a little bit unimpressed right now. But they are certainly making a ton of really good progress offensively, whether it's Love being more decisive, whether it's receivers being where they're supposed to be, whether it's the offensive line blocking. And frankly, I even went through A.J. Dillon's performance, and while it didn't feel all that impressive on its surface, he picked up 4 first downs. He had 2 explosive plays. So he got the job done for a depleted running back group as well.
Chatting with Jason Wilde, who you and I have been on the same page of this whole season, right? Like we've both been impressed with Jordan Love, even when people were like mad at Jordan Love. Like we thought like he was way better than we had expected and was given the situation doing better. We've been on the same page. The thing now, Jason, that jumps out isn't the total stats or the total numbers. It's the fact that the way the offense looked on those first few series, right? This was a team that couldn't score any points in entire halves of football. I mean, that to me shows just massive, massive progress for the entire unit, what we saw. And maybe Detroit didn't show up in a short week and all that, but that's got to be seen as massive progress for this team.
No doubt. I mean, they had 2 first-quarter touchdowns all season, and they had 3, including Jonathan Owens' fumble return for the touchdown. They had 3 in the first quarter on Thursday. I mean, that's a game changer. And you're right. It looked like the offense that we kind of envisioned it being, right? Like Matt LaFleur scheming guys open and guys finding openings in the defense and Jordan Love delivering the ball on time and on target. I mean, it was what we envisioned their offense at some point this season.
Not me.
Like.
I didn't think I was going to be this year. I thought that'd be maybe next
Really?
year. Yeah. I mean,
I thought it would be later in the year than it turned out to be, but I thought it would be this year.
yeah, I mean, that was better than I thought the offense would look at any time this year, just because of the inexperience of everybody. And I didn't know if Jordan Love would even still, I thought he'd be somehow healthy through the whole season. I thought he would make it through the whole year, but I don't know. I just never thought they would click in a moment like that in the way they did. And so when you look at this now, Jason, you're not on this Tausch and Kyle train, but if you're counting wins, are you just saying like, they could lose home Bears last game of the season? They could lose almost any game on the schedule the way they could win just about any game, as they proved this week against the Lions?
Right. That's exactly what they are to me. And look, we spent so much time being conditioned to have a team that we expected them to win all the time, and it was actually a surprise when they would lose. And there were occasional games where you thought, oh, this is going to be a tough one. I don't think they're going to win. And sometimes with a Hall of Famer at quarterback, they won it anyway, right? This team is definitely one that can win any game now, and as we saw throughout the season to this point, can lose any game now. And just because they did what they did on Thanksgiving does not mean that they're not going to have a clunker of a game against the Giants on Monday Night Football. Now, the Giants are terrible, right? So you wouldn't think that that's the game. The Vikings, they play the Vikings in Minnesota on New Year's Eve. That strikes me as a game that they certainly can win, right? You're not overly impressed with the Vikings. They had a really good run. We'll see what they do today. But the Packers are a game back going into today's Vikings game of them for the last playoff spot. Seattle obviously lost. So those two teams are both at the bottom of the 6-7 slots.
And we went through it. Seattle's got a lot of losses there on their schedule. I mean, they have a tough schedule coming up. Another 49ers game, of Cowboys, Eagles, all sorts of tough games.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that reference during the Thanksgiving night game. That I looked at their schedule and thought, okay, that doesn't hurt the Packers at all. But again, look, are they going to lose in Carolina? I certainly don't think so. But I can see them, turning the ball over and finding a way, and suddenly like, God, you lost to Carolina, and Carolina doesn't even want to win. I mean, although they don't get to keep the first overall pick, even if they have it. So my point is that I'm not on the train. I am in the station. I have I don't know if it's cash-only station or if it's a cashless station, but I'm getting in line to buy my ticket, but I'm still hemming and hawing a little bit about getting on a playoff train.
And basically, from a draft standpoint, just remind us coming up this year. So basically, they will be getting the second-round pick from the Jets as a result of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt this year. And then what else do the Packers have, like in the first 2 rounds? Do they have all their picks and everything else is normal?
They have all their picks, and then they traded Rasul Douglas and a 5th-round pick to Buffalo. So they don't have their 5th-round pick anymore, but now they have another 3rd-round pick. So they will have a 1st, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. So 5 picks in the first 3 rounds.
With a team that, could be this year's, can we call them now? Kyle, would you be happy? Let's say if the Packers beat the Bears week 18, game 17, to not make the playoffs the way the Detroit Lions did to the Packers last season, right? Remember, that last game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that happens this year, Kyle, as a Packers fan, if they go, let's call it 9-8, but don't make the playoffs, or 8-9 and don't make the playoffs, you have to be ecstatic about this year.
It's a step in the right direction. That is exactly what you wanted. You wanted this team come week 17, come week 18. Will they be competing for something? If they are competing for something, that means that the season went better than some people have thought before that.
Right? I mean, Jason, could they be this year's Lions, right, if that happens?
Yeah, they could also be this year's Seahawks, who traded away Russell Wilson and made the playoffs last year. And I've said this, again, I picked them to go 6-11. They are going to exceed that, and I'm happy that they are. But one of the things I said early on when we were talking about how bad the NFC was that, hey, this conference may be bad enough. Now, this was before their 4-game losing streak, and then we kind of all thought they were done, which has turned out to not be the case. But I said, hey, if they can get in the playoffs, 8-9, 9-8, if that's the 7th spot, that is a colossal bonus to get all these young guys that first playoff experience, and especially Jordan Love, even if they get their butts kicked in a playoff game by the number 2 seed. If they get in, that accelerates the growth even further. So I'm with Kyle. If they finish 9-8 and somehow miss the playoffs, great. If they finish 9-8, 8-9, and that's good enough to get into the playoffs, even better. No one thinks they're a Super Bowl team. No one thinks they're going to go on a long playoff run necessarily. But if they can somehow get in, the acceleration of the growing process that we have talked about all year, that is like hitting hyperspeed on it, because now you've got that first playoff game under your belt. And by next year, when you expect them to be a playoff team, right, if Jordan's going to keep growing the way you want him to, then you don't have the nerves of, I've never played a playoff game before. Now all these guys will have gotten that experience. So, again, there's some, I don't love the fact that they're not going to have Musgrave for the next month. We'll see if he's able to come back this season. Lacerated kidney is obviously a major injury internally, but Tucker Kraft has shown some encouraging signs. I would feel better about them if I felt better about Aaron Jones' availability and Luke Musgrave's. But again, I don't have any problem with Kyle or Tausch getting excited about this being a possibility, or in their minds, a likelihood.
Yeah, I still feel like it's 7-10, by the way. But that, to me, what Matt LaFleur proved over these last few weeks, like the guys weren't packing up the golf clubs, and maybe they're too young. They haven't learned to play golf yet. The fact that he kept this team together, going into Chargers and then at Lions on Thursday. I mean, very, very impressive. We'll have more with Jason Wilde as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Yeah, they're football guys, but they don't shy away from the big topics of the day.
Andy Reid's a dog? No,
Andy Reid's not a dog.
It does not have to be
Come on. He's like a St. Bernard.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
It doesn't have to be hulking. It's an attitude.
Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Give the gift of a special night out from the Bartolotta Restaurants. Purchase a gift card at Bartolottas.com and get a $20 holiday bonus for every $100 you spend. Happy holidays from all of us at the Bartolotta Restaurants, and thank you, Milwaukee.
Are you tired of looking at a dirty, dusty, and cracked garage and looking for a fresh new look? Hi, this is ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta, and I'm here to tell you about Floor Shield by Showtime Floors. Using a state-of-the-art coating 4 times stronger than traditional epoxy, it's tough enough to be used in military bases and airports. Floor Shield is certified as an anti-slip floor and also eco-friendly, all while being UV stable, and my favorite part, easy to clean. This makes it perfect for outdoor spaces, just like your patio. Check it out at ShowtimeFloors.com and work with a specialist to transform your space in as little as one day.
Do more together this holiday in a new Chevy. Take on more adventure in the strong and capable Chevy Silverado. More confidence in the Chevy Equinox, winner of the J.D. Power Award for initial quality among compact SUVs 2 years running. And more value in the all-new Chevy Trax with an available 11-inch diagonal touchscreen. Bring the holidays together in a new Chevy. Visit WisconsinDriveChevy.com. For J.D. Power 2023 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Homer here. There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. And Robert Heck Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds. Guys, these are diamonds. They're just grown in a laboratory, which speeds up the process. At Robert Heck Diamonds, you can get a 1-carat diamond for under $600. And 2-carat diamonds, many of which go for under $1,000. Manufacturer prices are dropping fast. And Robert Heck Diamonds wants to help you save money while also giving you a great product. Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Heck. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services and cash for your old gold. Stop in today. Robert Hack in Greenfield on Layton Avenue or Brookfield on Greenfield Avenue. And shop their whole lab-grown diamond and jewelry selection at roberthackdiamonds.com. Remember, great product, great price. roberthackdiamonds.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wildig for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some. Why are you throwing? I don't want.
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN show streaming on video.
Named by me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
So, Kyle, I want to give you a chance to respond. I said I still see this as a 7-win team. And since you're printing home playoff tickets and stuff, I just want to see how your thoughts on that.
How many wins do they have now, Craig?
They have 5.
And so you think they're only winning 2 more games this season?
Yeah.
That is insanity. After they just beat the Chargers, competed with the Steelers, just beat the Lions?
I mean, but do you want me to read the teams they lost to?
They won 3 of the last 4 games.
Right, but do you want me to read the 5 of the 6 losses they have before that?
You don't think
we both could read the
3?
schedule.
You don't think they get into 8?
I'm saying, I think they lose. And basically, I think their 2 wins are the Giants and the Panthers the rest of the year.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I just disagree.
I think the way we saw the Lions come back and get whooped by the Packers, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bears beat the Packers, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see the Buccaneers, win that game as they're competing for a division title somehow at 4-6, right? I don't think, and Jason, you're around it more, I don't know why we believe this team can now be consistent just because we've seen a good effort. And this isn't a knock on the team or Jordan Love. I just think it's such an inexperienced young team. You mentioned it, Aaron Jones, Musgrave. I mean, there's a lot of injuries, and I just don't know that it's fair to think all of a sudden that this team's a playoff team. They're just not. I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah, I think there's ups and downs ahead, but when I look at their remaining 6 games, and look, Kansas City needs to get its ship righted, so I would be surprised.
Wait, is MVS a good dude? When I watch him, should I be rooting for him, or how should I be approaching it? Because Kyle, how do you feel when, as a Packers fan, when you saw that MVS drop, what was your feels?
How did he get paid?
Yeah,
I mean that's exactly what he was with the Packers. He seems like a nice guy, good athlete, just can't catch.
Yeah, I can't speak to if he's a good dude. He was not good with the media.
Yeah,
I did not have a good rapport with him.
He was fine. Jason, were you watching that game?
I was.
The drop was bad as can be, but there was that other play where he was open and he kind of tripped himself and didn't go for the ball. Did you see that one?
Yeah. Oh
yeah. What is that stuff you've seen before?
From him, yes.
Yeah.
Not commonplace among other. I mean, he got the Packers after they traded Adams. Then they went back to MVS, and they tried to sign him, and he chose they did not make a great offer to him, which turned out to be smart, and he chose the Chiefs, which was good because I think he would have been a veteran, which we've all agreed they could use in that room, but no,
not him.
But Jason, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, it's like what I was saying about Bakhtiari earlier in the year. I think a veteran's only good if you want the young guys learning from them. Like a veteran for veteran's sake could be actually a bigger negative.
Yeah, I don't think they have anything to regret there. Now, that said, my point was going to be that I think the Chiefs probably come in and right the ship and win on Sunday Night Football. So now they're sitting at 5-7, to Kyle's point, with 5 games to go. I look at that, and I think they're going 3-2. I think they're going to lose one of those teams that are worse than them, but not significantly worse games, right? So because all of them basically are winnable games, right? Help me out, Kyle. It's the Giants, then the Buccaneers, then the Panthers, then the Vikings, then the Bears, right?
That is correct.
So I think there's more likely than not 3 wins out of those last 5. I could also see, to Craig's point, I can see them dropping 2 games where you're like, oh my God, how did they lose to, the Giants? I know it's Monday Night Football and they came to play, and Tommy DeVito had a great game, but my issue with them, and this is what I would caution every Packers fan, because I don't want to ruin your enthusiasm. I think someone like Kyle or Tausch, or there's tons of fans that feel this way. Get excited, because there is legitimate reason to be excited. The last 4 games that they have played, I think the worst game of the 4 was the Rams game. And then I think they played really well in Pittsburgh. Their run defense obviously did not. But that was when I was like, okay, now their offense is starting to click. And then we saw it against the Chargers. Then we saw it against the Lions. My issue is I think they've got a couple of offensive clunkers left in them. And that could be, if that's one of those games that you expect them to win, and then they lose kind of the toss-up games, then you end up 2-3 over your last 5, and that's how you end up at 7-10 if you lose to the Chiefs.
It is going to be fascinating. Jason, want to get quick thoughts on your alma mater, who also was left for dead a little over 2 weeks ago, 15, 16 days ago, after having just not showed up to a home game against Northwestern after losing at Indiana. I mean, are you where do you stand on the success or failure of this first season for Luke Fickell?
Look, I don't want to sound like Tom Brady here, but both with the Big Ten and with the National Football League, especially the NFC, I just think there's a lot of mediocre to bad football teams. And so if you can be just a little less bad, a little higher on the mediocrity scale, then there's opportunity for you, right? Because and again, we're not accustomed to this. Like, I know last year for the Badgers was a difficult year, and people got fired and people didn't get brought back and all that. But before that, generally speaking, you felt pretty good about them getting to 9-10 wins, right? With the Packers, you felt pretty good about them getting to 12, 13 wins, and then probably losing in the playoffs and really ticking you off as a fan.
You didn't feel good about that, but you thought that would happen.
Well, you thought, yes, you thought that was likely, I should say. Now, there's just, with the level of competition in both of the leagues that these teams, or both conferences that these teams play in, I don't know how good either one of them really are. I just know they're not as bad as some of these other teams that they face, which I know that's not very high praise, but that's kind of how I feel.
Right, and you look at, we've been saying it, if they had beaten Iowa and Northwestern or Indiana, they would have won another division title this year. And
right.
I don't know how good they would have been, right? Like, I don't think anyone would have been saying, like, wow, what a great Badger team this was. This was reminiscent of some of the best Badger teams, or we feel like they're on the rise. But to me, I think it speaks more to what Luke Fickell was able to do with a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds to keep them together after those losses and to win 2 games against teams that they're pretty evenly matched against. So in that way, I feel like it gives you momentum going into next season in a way that it didn't look like was going to exist, halfway through this year. So I think that's where it's a positive year for Luke Fickell, in that there's at least a momentum going into year 2.
And I would say we found out a lot about their running back. About Braylon Allen.
Kyle's not willing to give us that. Kyle's not willing to give us that on Braylon Allen.
No, you asked me, was he one of the great ones? What did you ask me, Craig?
I'm trying to think of the wording, but I'm saying he now goes on the list, yes, of great Wisconsin running backs.
And then you said like Corey Clement was on that list. There's a difference between.
I'm saying he's not on the list of Ron Dane, Melvin Gordon, and Jonathan Taylor.
He's with PJ Hill to me.
McCullough.
He's ahead of Carl McCullough.
I don't know who that is.
Carl McCullough, Jason, I actually just looked at his. What do you think Carl McCullough's season high touchdowns was?
6.
Carl McCullough's most touchdowns in a season was 3. He had 9 career touchdowns, which I was stunned to learn. Because I thought of him as like, he had a 1,000-yard season. So I figured he was like all these other guys who would have like 15 touchdowns. But he had 1,000 yards.
I agree. So there's the pantheon of Ron Dane, Melvin Gordon, Brent Moss, right? There's the top of the top. And then, P.J. Hill. I would say Monte Ball is for the top echelon, right? But Look, I just respect the heck out of Braylon Allen and what he did, because there was a time where I know he was frustrated. There was a time where he was hurt, and they don't win these last 2 games without him playing at a much higher level. Agreed? So I think he deserves a ton of credit. That's all.
Yep, and no one would have said anything because nobody expected him to play against Nebraska, and they would not have won that game. So both of these last 2 games are a testament to him, and it will be a Wisconsin running back themed 7 at 11, which may include Braylon Allen or may not. Kyle will have to be the one to take that guess. As Jason drives down I-43, you can listen along with everybody else because it's the 7 at 11 coming up next. Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin. Thanks so much, Jason.
You're listening to Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Must be at least 18 years old. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. See Sleeper Support Center for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-522-4700 for help. Think you know basketball? Then try to turn your basketball knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick your favorite sports and players, like basketball star Damian Lillard. With more stats than any sports app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats and ka-ching. You could win up to 100 times your money if your pick wins. With the Sleeper app, you can make picks anytime, even after the game starts. And only on Sleeper can you get up to 100 times payout. Check out Sleeper today and unlock one of the fastest growing fantasy sports apps in the world. Download right now and get up to $100 deposit match. Use promo code Milwaukee and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Just go to the App Store, download the Sleeper app today, and remember to use code Milwaukee for up to $100 match on your first deposit. That's promo code Milwaukee.
Set your game plan for a new baseball season with the 2024 Brewers 4-Pack. Don't wait. Get yours by November 27th and get a 5th game added to your plan for free. That's 4 action-packed plan choices, your first chance at the best seats, and a bonus Brewers game free for early buyers. Plus, each pair of a 4-pack comes with a Brewers Knit Hack. Act now and get this limited time offer at brewers.com/4packs.
Congratulations are in order for Cedar Ridge Distillery's original 86 bourbon, the best-selling bourbon in Iowa for a 3rd straight year, making a home in Wisconsin. Ben Bruss here to tell you more about Cedar Ridge Distillery's bourbon and whiskey. Aged in non-climate control rick houses, the Midwest weather means Cedar Ridge products go through all the temperature swings. That means unique flavors. So it makes sense that the Quintessential is one of the highest awarded American single malts. Trust me, each bottle of Cedar Ridge is handcrafted with that Midwest feel. Learn more about their award-winning products at cedarridgedistillery.com.
Gabe Neitzel here. Catch Jen, Gabe, and Chewy mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Aside from a house or a car specifically, what is the most expensive thing you own? Wendy?
A car.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Alligator. Name something that's better than being rich.
4. Besides a bird, something in a bird cage.
Hamster.
Something that comes with a summer storm.
Snow.
Something Russia's famous for, Bob.
Russians.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob.
Naked grandma!
Reason you might stay indoors on a beautiful day.
Because it's raining?
Name something you might buy that could turn out to be phony.
Yeah, a horse.
Name a time that most people get up.
In the morning.
A time most people go to bed.
At night.
This is the 7 at 11 on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin.
All right, Kyle, it's our time to see who really is the most elite of the elite when it comes to those Wisconsin Badger running backs. And sure, it might be arbitrary what I'm going to do here, but you got to make a cutoff somewhere. So what I'm looking at is 1,000 scrimmage yards in a season plus 10 touchdowns. Okay? You need to have them both for a season to be what we view as like elite Badger running back seasons. So what I want to know are who are the 7 running backs in the history of Wisconsin. We're going all the way back. The history of Wisconsin. Who are the 7 running backs who have had 1,000 yards from scrimmage and 10 or more touchdowns in a season?
That's tough. So let's start with Ron Dayne.
Ron Dayne actually is not on the list. Just kidding. Ron Dayne did it
18
all 4 seasons that he played. No one else you're going to find on this list has done it 4 times. Ron Dayne alone at the top. Like if there's a Mount Rushmore where there's like heads and then there was one head at the top of the mountain, that'd be Ron Dayne's head. Which, by the way, ChatGPT, don't even play.
Can't trust it?
Cannot trust it. I was messing with ChatGPT at Thanksgiving, and I said, give me a trivia question about New Jersey and Wisconsin. And it was like, which of these Wisconsin running backs is from New Jersey?
Corey Clement, Ron Dayne, Anthony.
And it went through 4, and it said like
Davis.
And it said it gave a correct answer. It was like Ron Dayne is actually from Berlin, Wisconsin. I'm like, what?
Does he live in Berlin, Wisconsin now?
I don't know, but I'm saying don't trust ChatGPT. All right, Ron Dayne's on the list. Nice job.
Ron Dayne's on the list, and I think a guy named Jonathan Taylor's on that list.
Jonathan Taylor is not only on the list, but in all 3 seasons, he did 2,000 yards. Dude, Jonathan Taylor.
Sick.
Dude, sick. Jonathan Taylor, every year, all 3 seasons, 2,000 yards and 10 touchdowns.
He was insane. He set the bar so high.
And by the way, if you love Jonathan Taylor, do you know where you could find him today?
Is he on ESPN Radio? Is he playing the Colts? Are they on our station today?
Right here at noon, following this show. Just stay tuned for Badger football all day.
Jaguars versus Colts?
No, it's not.
No, who's playing the Colts? I picked the other team.
Because the Jaguars and the Texans are playing each other.
The Jaguars are playing somebody where it's a close. Oh, Houston. They're playing Houston. Right?
That's what I said. The Jaguars are playing the Texans. That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
the Colts are playing the Buccaneers.
Oh, that's what it is. All right, I'll keep going.
All
here.
right.
Melvin Gordon, he had like 4 touchdowns in one game. He has to be on this list.
Melvin Gordon, he has to be on this list. Wait, because he had 4 touchdowns in one game?
I'm pretty sure he had 400 yards and like 4 touchdowns against Nebraska in that one game.
I was there. Yeah, I actually was there. But I was there at that home game. I was also there on the road. Oh, man. Melvin Gordon. I love me some Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is actually, and I'm just pulling it up so I could read this to you. He is not on the list. He only had 2 1,000-yard seasons, although in his senior year, he had 32 touchdowns.
Wait, wasn't it? Wait, are we talking about careers or are we talking about?
You had to have 3 seasons.
Oh, I thought you just said
3 seasons of 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Wait, I missed that part. I just thought you said 1 season of 1,000 yards and 10 plus touchdowns. Wait a minute. So you're saying, wait. The trivia question is you have to have 3 1,000-yard seasons. 3 seasons where you had 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Oh, Oh, okay. Well,
Melvin Gordon only had 2 of those.
Okay, wait a minute. I didn't realize that was the list.
All right, well, we'll give you a little mulligan here.
Well, okay, well then in that case, that makes it a lot harder, Craig. Man, I'm just gonna go. Oh man, Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis was a player who also had an all-time memorable game for the Axe. If you know, you know what Anthony Davis went through leading up to that game. Freshman year, he did it. 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. Sophomore year, he did it. 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns. Junior year, only 700 yards. Senior year, 1,069 yards and 11 touchdowns.
All right.
Anthony Davis is on this list with 3 seasons. Well done.
We got AD. Okay, so the next one, this is tough.
So we have Ron Dane with 4, Jonathan Taylor with 3, Anthony Davis with 3.
See, the problem is I don't know enough about Brent Moss and know how many seasons that he actually ran for 1,000 yards. So I just don't know enough about what he did. But I think I'm gonna go here, man. I'm torn between 2 guys because I don't know. Look, I'm just gonna say PJ Hill.
PJ Hill is on the list.
All right, now
he did it 3 times. His 3,942 yards are impressive. He only played 3 seasons. All 3 seasons were at least 1,200 yards and at least 13 touchdowns. His freshman year, the biggest of those 3. PJ Hill is correct. You now have 4 of the 7 names on this list. Ron Dane, Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Davis, PJ Hill. Melvin
5.
Gordon guessed incorrect.
Oh, that's right. Melvin Gordon's not on. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Okay, well, I'm just going to throw it out there. Monty Ball?
Monty Ball. Now, Monty Ball is not remembered much as a wide receiver, but he actually needed his receiving yards to put him over the top in his sophomore year, where he had 1,100 yards and 18 touchdowns. His junior year, 2,200 combined yards and 39 touchdowns. And he did have 306 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, which is no joke. And then his senior year, 1,900 yards, 22 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Maybe one of the most underrated players in Wisconsin history. And, I think sometimes what happens after, takes away people's memories. It should absolutely not with Monte Ball. 5 players correct now. Dane, Jonathan Taylor, Monte Ball, Anthony Davis, PJ Hill. You have 5 of the 7.
Here's the problem. Like Alan Amici, I have no idea what I don't know what he did.
Alan Amici, I know I said this list goes all the way back. It does. I don't see Alan Amici on here anywhere. So I think my database here goes back to the 70s.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with my boy here because he has some really good seasons, even though he got a little big.
So we go through the 70s, from the 70s till today.
I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with James White.
Now, James White is another one of those who is up there, right? Because he's got over 4,000 career yards. So you got to think he's there. Freshman year, he did it, 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. Sophomore year, only 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. Junior year, 938 yards and 13 touchdowns. Senior year, 1,700 yards and 15 touchdowns. It's not his fault. He was just playing with a lot of other talented dudes.
I hope it's not the other guy going to choose, but there's no way. I wasn't going to get the 7th.
He did it twice. But not 3 times for John. Uh-oh.
We going to say somebody else?
For James White.
Listen, this is a tough list only because there's so many guys, and who he played with, oh my gosh. And again, I don't know. Basically, pre-Ron Dane, I have no idea what happened. Wisconsin football.
All right. Well, I could tell you, you got 5 out of 7. There is 1 pre-Ron Dane and 1 post-Ron Dane.
Oh, I know both who they are.
That is still on this
list. Do I still have my mulligan or no? That doesn't
No,
count.
you're done.
What? I didn't know that.
You're done. 800-990 ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. We're looking for Wisconsin Badger running backs that have had at least 3 seasons of 1,000 yards and 10 or more touchdowns. At least 3 seasons of 1,000 yards and 10 or more touchdowns. One was pre-Rondane, one was post-Rondane. Who joins the list with Rondane, Jonathan Taylor, Monte Ball, Anthony Davis, and P.J. Hill? We know James White and Melvin Gordon are incorrect. We will take your calls as we continue. 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. Sunday Karma, ESPN, Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. He's the most interesting man in sports radio.
Well, should I have a chip on my shoulder that I'm not making as much money as Skip Bayless?
In his mind, anyway. The Homer Hour with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
When you say they gave it away, what's at the top of your list?
Get them off the field on third down.
The Homer Hour with Homer. Weekdays from 5 to 6. Right here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on YouTube.
Looking for a totally rad flavor adventure, brochachos? Look no further than Surfer Boy Pizza as seen in Stranger Things. Each mouth-watering variety contains rich tomato sauce, delicious mozzarella cheese, and a gnarly range of toppings. The crust is crispy on the outside and airy on the inside. You'll think it was hand-tossed by the Surfer Boy Pizza dudes themselves. Look for it in the freezer aisle at your local store and buckle up your taste buds with Surfer Boy Pizza.
Hey, it's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust. Men can be their own worst critics, especially as we get older and compare our current self to the younger version. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles in Germantown help men with testosterone optimization, regenerative medicines, heart health screenings, weight loss, and yes, sexual enhancement services. Forward Healthy Lifestyles can offer regained energy and endurance, more muscle and tone, enhanced performance, joint therapies, and more. Change your life and stop comparing who you are now to who you used to be. Visit forwardhealthylifestyles.com for a free consultation.
Created diamond prices
and natural diamond prices
are the lowest you will see in your lifetime. A temporary oversupply of diamonds worldwide has created a fabulous opportunity for you to own a much bigger diamond.
Natural diamonds were born in the earth when the world was new.
Created diamonds were born in a plasma chamber when your love was new. Plasma chambers are fascinating.
Plasma is not a solid, a liquid, or a gas.
Plasma is the rarest substance on Earth, but the most abundant substance in outer space.
The northern lights and a bolt of lightning are the only naturally occurring plasma on Earth.
But in outer space, the stars are all made of plasma. Natural diamonds were born in the Earth.
Created diamonds were born in a star.
Diamond prices will never be lower. If owning a big diamond is on your bucket list,
this is your year for that dream to come true.
You're going to be happy, happy, happy.
Find the Kesslers nearest you
and see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Don't put your life on hold to earn a degree. Lakeland University has a long history of making students' dreams come true. Since 1862, build a schedule that meets your needs with options for 7- and 12-week courses, evening classes, and the ability to join classes remotely. Lakeland University is Wisconsin's leader in evening and online education. They have a main campus in Sheboygan County and 6 centers throughout the whole state. Lakeland University, affordable, quality, flexible. Find out your next steps at info.lakeland.edu.
Here in Wisconsin, a good old-fashioned is an important way of life. And that's where my friends at Perky's Old Fashioned come in. Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel here to tell you about the easiest way to put together an old-fashioned. Perky's offers both brandy and bourbon old-fashioned mixes. And get this, the booze is already in there. Just add the soda of your choosing, and you'll have Grandma Perky's old-fashioned in the palm of your hand. Perky's is locally made and great for get-togethers of all kinds. Get perked up and head to perkysspirits.com for your nearest Perky's location.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Lightweight and we heavyweight. Roll me a blunt, sit back and meditate. Been on the time, but it's time to celebrate.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Came from the bottom, not talking the grass. I came from the dirt and the gravel. Pull up, I bought with a stallion. She got a chrome on saddle. I made it in the day, thank God it's time to
right, here we go. Here we go. We're looking for the most elite of Wisconsin Badger running backs. Guys who did it not just 1 year, not just 2 years, but 3 years. 1,000 yards from scrimmage, plus 10 or more touchdowns, 3 or more times in their Badger careers. We have Ron Dayne, Jonathan Taylor, Montee Ball, Anthony Davis, P.J. Hill guessed correctly. We have James White and Melvin Gordon guessed incorrectly, despite what Gordon did, which we said was insane. And we also gave the hint that one of them remaining is pre-Ron Dayne, and one of them is post-Ron Dayne. Start out with Kevin, who's a bartender. You're on Sunday Karma. Morning, Kevin.
Hi, guys. I'm pretty sure I've got the old-timey one. The guy I thought you should put on your Mount Rushmore when you were struggling for the fourth one, and that would be Billy Merrick.
So you're thinking it's Billy Merrick, because there's a guy I once co-hosted Homecoming with Rufus the Road Runner Ferguson, and the Road Runner put up two 1,000-yard seasons, but it is not Rufus. It is, in fact, Billy Merrick, who Kyle...
Who?
Oh, Kyle.
What year was this?
Kyle, he was Ron Dayne before Ron Dayne. So, Kevin...
He had 304 yards a game in the game for the Axe in 1974, I want to say. He had 304 yards. He had to have a big push to get to 1,000 that season, and that was part of it. And 5 touchdowns.
Yep, so he had 3 consecutive years of at least 1,291 yards and 13 touchdowns from 73 to 75. Billy Merrick, who was literally, everyone thought would be like the greatest running back of all time. Like, it took a while for Ron Dayne to break his record, because he was legit.
Why does no one talk about this Billy Merrick?
Because people only remember the modern day guys now. He was in the 70s. I mean, so it was a long time ago. They did before Ron Dayne.
Well, so why is his number not retired or any? I legitimately do not know who this is. Never heard the name before.
Yeah, well.
Number 26, he was a small, slow white guy that was just somehow he just made yards.
Yeah,
I mean, like he should.
I mean, I think the team didn't win enough for him to be considered at any kind of level like that. All right, Kevin, you want to guess at the other one still looking for?
I think it's almost a trick question, and that's why you put in the 1,000 yards from scrimmage and not just rushing yards. And does Braylon Allen somehow have 1,000 yards stitched together this year, even though he missed a bunch of games?
Yes, he does. Well done, Kevin.
I like Kevin.
Kevin, you got Braylon Allen and you got Billy Merrick, both ends of it. And that, to me, is why Braylon Allen is still not respected the way he should by Kyle and others. The fact that he's done it 3 consecutive seasons, which, as we see, in 100 years, only 7 people have actually done. So, there are the Brian Calhouns who had ridiculous seasons, right? And the Michael Bennett's who had explosive seasons, and even Melvin Gordon, who was otherworldly, but only 7 guys ever have done it at this level. And Kevin, congratulations. You got it. We'll find out where Kevin was calling from and get him either ESPN Madison or ESPN Milwaukee t-shirt for his excellent work there in knocking it out. So we had Ron Dayne with 4, and then 3 seasons for Jonathan Taylor, Montee Ball, Anthony Davis, P.J. Hill, Billy Merrick, Braylon Allen. Then we had James White with 2, John Clay with 2, Terrell Fletcher with 2. Remember running and receiving there, and Fletcher was great alongside Brent Moss, and Corey Clement with 2, and then Calhoun did it once, Bennett did it once, and Brent Moss did it once. Those are ridiculously big-time running backs from the University of Wisconsin. Just want to give a quick love, by the way. The 21st leading rusher in the history of the University of Wisconsin. 21st leading rusher, none other than a guy who never had more than 460 yards in a season, but he had 4 great seasons running the ball and 25 career touchdowns. Brooks Bollinger. How about that? Brooks Bollinger, on top of what he did through the air, he had 25 rushing touchdowns in his career, which I thought was pretty impressive when I was putting this list together. 25 rushing touchdowns to go along with his 36 passing touchdowns in one of the all-time great. Can I call it the greatest? I'm going to call him. Other people will disagree and other people know more. I'm going to call Brooks Bollinger my greatest Badger quarterback of all time. Kyle.
Who's better?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's, because Russell Wilson was obviously better for his year, but to me, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about extended greatness, and Darrell Bevell, I'm not going to give it to. Stocco, there's other guys who put up significantly better numbers, but to me, I'm going best quarterback of all time for the Badgers is Brooks Bollinger.
The future best quarterback is going to be coming in the next 5 years. I'm dead serious.
Dude, I've heard that literally since Brooks Bollinger left every year.
Because of the transfer portal. And people find some young guy.
Right, but I'm saying that happened with Russell Wilson. But just because you find someone who's in their 7th year, like Tanner Mordecai, doesn't mean they're going to become.
Don't be disrespectful.
Doesn't mean they're going to become what Brooks Bollinger was. And a lot of people like to talk about what Brooks Bollinger wasn't. But all I'm going to say is Brooks Bollinger was the best quarterback in the history of the Wisconsin Badgers. All right, we have a lot of NFL stuff to get to. And our Palermo's picks as we roll on at Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
On the actual day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a 12-pack of Lakefront, 11 Jim's a beaming, 10 Royals crowning, 9 Johnny's walking, 8 wines a sparkling, 7 Miller's lighting, 6 geese a graying, 5 Chardonnays, 4 spotted cows, 3 Cabernets, 2 gift cards from just 1 trip to Discount Liquor.
Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. 'Tis the season to check out Discount Liquor's tremendous selection of over 2,000 varieties of beer, 3,000 types of liquor, and over 8,000 wines from around the world. And yes, we do carry 8 varieties of ready-to-drink eggnog. Celebrate this most festive time with a great selection of beautifully packaged liquor gift sets, sure to make you the hit of the party or as a perfect gift for the liquor connoisseur on your shopping list. Discount Liquor, 2 locations in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Main and Barstow.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings. Discount Liquor.
See all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com.
Around the holidays, you need to be extra careful when you're on the roads. And if you or a loved one ends up injured, it is such a luxury in this community to have Gruber Law Offices because it's one call and that's all. And that doesn't mean their work stops and it's a simple transaction. It means your worrying's able to stop because you're going to be connected with someone from Gruber Law Offices. And what they've done over the last 30 plus years is help tens of thousands of Wisconsinites. That's why they are nationally recognized and still locally family owned. Because with Gruber Law Offices, it is one call, that's all.
Santa's back. Back again. Santa's back.
That's not a Christmas song, Dad.
That's true, Sid, but I'm celebrating our ESPN Wisconsin Racine Danish Kringles Jingle for Your Kringle contest on Wilde and Tausch, where you could win Kringle for a year. It's back for another year.
Can I enter?
Sure, anyone can. All you have to do is submit your own original jingle to celebrate the holidays and Racine Danish Kringle to ESPNWisconsinContest.com. Then we'll pick the most creative songs, and our grand prize winner will get Kringle for a year. There's only one requirement. Make sure you include Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition in your jingle. Or if you don't want to sing, but you still want to celebrate the holidays with the Racine Danish Kringle, call 800-4DANISH or visit Kringle.com and order their all-new Holiday Stick Sampler.
Sweet dreams of holiday Kringle, Mary Berry and apple, and lots of icing too.
Sid, what are you doing?
I'm working on my jingle. Kringle, I love you.
After every final whistle,
Holy mackerel. Cool and collected. That is the new quarterback.
Green Bay Game Night on 94.5 ESPN is your place to go.
I don't care if it's got an L in a column. I consider it a win.
Sound off on the Boda Box wine line after every green and gold game.
So I think I just watched a different game than the one Homer and Tosh watched. In the game I watched, I saw the Falcons roll up over 400 yards of offense.
The Boda Box wine line on Green Bay Game Night, 800-990-3776. Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video. Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Hey, yo, bad play.
Hey, I just went by the watch with a whole lot of diamonds to show how these my time. Took a trip out to Cali to hang with the Chris, make a play and get high off that Zaza. I say R.I.P. Kobe, it's so fly when I ball out where I skydive. So much chicken on me, could've went by the Williams, the Rudy's, a big Popeye. In a whole different bracket, this life is immaculate. If you hit me for bows, then you know that I'm taxing. Keep buying clothes, that shit still in the package.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We've been gone a long time. Was Craig Counsell still the manager last time we were here?
I believe so, he was.
Right? Like, I don't think we've been here since Craig's gone.
We have not.
So,
because he played us.
We stop it.
He did play us, Craig. He literally became a free agent, and the Cubs couldn't talk to him until he officially became a free agent. We let him talk to other teams. He waited to become a free agent, like October 1st, and he goes and talks to the Cubs. He played us. I don't know like why I'm being dragged by people for being emotional about somebody actually playing us. He uses.
No, not at all. And I hate to go Greg Popovich on you here, but I'm about to grab the mic and tell you that you're better than that. And that's not how we act over here. And that's not how we've built this program for 26 years. And that's not how we're building it moving forward. We're not booing Craig Counsell.
Craig, who did you grow up as a fan of? Who was the coach of the New York Knicks when you were a kid?
So, by the way, I was a Yankees fan, and Billy Martin would get fired every day, and then he'd get rehired like another year after. That's what I grew up with. When you're a New Yorker, it's not this like lovey-dovey, we keep our coach for 100 years. I didn't know about that. Pat Riley was our coach, and one day he just texted his resignation, and he was on to Miami. And then we were fighting Pat Riley every year. Now that's what I'm used to.
So tell me this: if Billy Martin had taken the Yankees to the playoffs back to back, well, I guess you guys win championships, and then he goes to the Boston Red Sox, would you be upset?
Yes.
Okay, so wait a minute, time out. Why would you be upset, Craig? Explain that to me.
Again, let's look at each situation as its own.
No, why would you be upset?
So which part do you blame Craig for?
I blame Craig for going to the Chicago Cubs. I don't care that he left. I was okay with him leaving. He understood going to the Cubs and what that meant. You go to the arch rival, the nemesis, the team that you literally know that in the clubhouse you say, hey, we hate these guys. It's the I-94 rivalry. They come up here and they try. The Brewers go so hard where they try to make sure there's no Cubs in the place because Cubs fans.
Where did you go to high school?
Tickets. I went to Whitefish Bay.
Where did he go to high school?
He went to Whitefish Bay.
Okay. Where does his family go to high school?
His kids went to Whitefish Bay.
Right. And so you don't think as someone who went to his school, you don't have a respect to be like, oh, okay, I understand it's time for him to move on. And the way that it could work for his family is to be able to be right there with the Cubs.
His kids are in college.
His daughter doesn't count?
No, he has a daughter?
Yeah, who's in high school.
Oh, I didn't know that. I only knew about his son.
Only the athletes who are the big.
I don't
see. Some of us girl dads, girls count also. This isn't like those cultures where we are limiting how many daughters we could have. Kyle.
First and foremost, I don't follow Craig Counsell's family. I don't follow children. I just see what they present on TV.
Right.
I didn't even know he had a daughter.
Right. And so my point is, this guy has grinded. There were years where they gave him nothing, and he turned it into 90 wins. This guy has done everything for this community. His family has been incredible, all that. It's great. Be upset. Root against him. Root against the Cubs. Don't boo the guy when he comes back to town.
No, he chose this path. This is the bed he decided to lay in. He could have went anywhere. There were 28 other teams that he could have went to, and he decided to go to the one team.
Every relationship is about two parties, right? It's about both parties. And so this relationship was about the Milwaukee Brewers and Craig Counsell. And eventually the relationship didn't end in a way that fans would want it to, right? But he was there longer than any manager in Major League Baseball, right?
Fans were okay with him leaving. They were going to be more disappointed with Mark Antanasio than they were going to be with him.
But you're saying, as someone who wants to be close to his family, he can't. You're going to disrespect the guy for wanting to be near his family?
Listen, he chose where he wanted to go. He could have gone to the White Sox.
I don't know that he could have. I don't know that for a fact. But
he could have went literally any. He is all about managers and resetting the market for managers. And he gets David Ross fired and takes his job.
Who said that he's all about resetting the market?
That's what the talk was. He wanted to reset the market.
No, that's what the talk was. What I believe he wanted, and I don't speak for Craig, is a chance to compete at theoretically the equal level to the top teams in baseball. And do you resent him for that?
Again, he could have went to the Mets. He chose.
Okay,
he
right.
chose to go.
Exactly.
His daughter would have been perfectly fine going and moving to New York.
Wait, how do you know? You didn't even know. Wait, you didn't know she had a kid, and now you're telling what she's fine with. Craziness.
Or the baseball season's during the winter time. During the summertime.
This is insanity.
Not insanity.
This is insanity. I'm not taking parenting lessons from you anymore. This is absolute craziness.
Insanity
Kyle.
is going to a press conference being shocked that there was so much backlash to you going to the Chicago Cubs. That's insanity. That's being clueless. That's being out of touch.
Come on, he knows. He knows.
Acts like he didn't.
What he didn't want to do,
So
and
he's
I
disingenuous
think
now.
he
That's what
took
you're
a
saying.
high road and did not say anything bad about the Milwaukee Brewers in the process, right? He took a very high road there and kept it very classy. That's what I saw him doing.
The Brewers legitimately let him go and explore and go find other teams. They didn't hold him to a timeline or a clock to make a decision. The Brewers offered to make him the highest paid manager in baseball as well. And so, again, the Brewers did a lot of good things. I know they didn't always provide him with the most talent, but we're one of the small. We are the smallest market in baseball. We have limitations, and he chose to go to I wouldn't say greener pastures. I would say richer pastures. That's his choice. I don't have to be happy with it.
I agree. I don't think you should be happy with it.
Are you happy with it?
I am. If I want the best for Craig, like ultimately, the guy was a manager for the Milwaukee Brewers longer than anyone in baseball was a manager with their team. I can't disrespect what that guy did for this community and what he's done for 50 years for this community. So if that's what's best for Craig and his family, I'm going to be happy for Craig and his family. Like, Craig has earned that in a way that very few people in my mind in sports have earned that. And I just think if you look at what he's done, he's earned that.
He just has to live with the repercussions of the fact that he will always be shunned here. And his legacy as the Brewers manager will
always be shunned here is ridiculous.
Craig,
that's preposterous.
Craig.
It's a joke for you to say always be shunned here. Brett Favre's not shunned here. Brett Favre's not shunned here.
Brett Favre went to the Jets.
Brett Favre tried to go to the Vikings.
But they didn't
All he tried to do was tamper and go to the Vikings.
And here's the thing, though.
And Brett Favre was trying to do that.
Brett Favre, he retired
while he wasn't even being honest. He wasn't even being honest with his team.
Brett Favre asked to come back, and the Packers said no.
It's craziness. You are absolute. The hypocrisy is
time out.
Insanity.
Did the Packers tell Brett Favre, no, you're not coming back?
Yes.
Did the Brewers tell Craig Counsell, no, you're not coming back?
No.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So Brett Favre,
they're very different situations.
They're different situations, different scenarios. You brought up Brett Favre. I'm just saying, Craig Counsell, his legacy here, he'll be known for how great he was as a manager, but then also there will always be that conversation about how he left the Milwaukee Brewers to go to the Chicago Cubs. That will forever be attached to his legacy.
It should be. It should be.
Exactly. So
it should be attached to his legacy that he goes to the Cubs.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting to see what he does there.
I hope
right?
he loses.
And if he wins a few World Series, how people will feel about that, I think people will be upset either way, right? Like, if he goes there and doesn't win, people will be upset that he wasn't still here. If he goes there and wins,
I would love it. I would love him not because it's him, because of the Cubs.
Right, of course. And I think that is correct. Fans should root against him every game, right? Because they're Brewers fans. And if you're not a Craig Counsell fan, you're a Brewers fan, you should be rooting for the Brewers. But that doesn't mean you boo the guy who has given his heart and soul.
Wait a minute. If your ex-wife, who you were with I'm talking about just in general, if somebody's ex-wife cheated on them in a relationship And then when they come,
he didn't cheat on it. His contract was over. You just said it. His contract was over. When someone is a free agent, they have the ability to do whatever they want. That is part of being a free agent.
Okay, if your ex-wife left you to go to a relationship with somebody who you hated, they go to your worst enemy.
Once she was a free agent, as long as she wasn't messing around while she was with me.
Stop it.
No, Craig Counsell gave everything while he was under his contract.
If you and your
Craig
girl
Counsell
broke up,
gave
you wouldn't be
everything.
upset that she went to somebody that you talked dirt about, that you didn't like about. She go to the oppositions, the people that you don't, your worst enemy.
I could be upset.
Thank you.
But I'm not booing her. I'm going to appreciate everything she did while she was here. Craig Counsell was there longer than any manager in baseball was with his team. And just because the Brewers didn't fire him, that he had the chance and left as a free agent,
go to the Cubs.
We're going to be mad?
Yes.
Be mad, but don't boo him. No, don't take away everything he did during his time here.
He did that. It's okay. It's okay to boo Craig, and it's not because Craig left. It's because of where he went. His decision.
Not okay to boo him. Not okay to boo him.
I don't boo a
It's
lot
okay
of
to
things.
root against him. It's not okay to boo him. This guy gave his 24/7, 365 to your team and made the last 9 years of your life better than they would have been.
So many World Series titles.
Come on. And
stop it.
You're not saying he outperformed the roster he was given every single year. The analytics show that. That's not me.
How many times
That's the analytics saying.
We went to one NLCS?
Every single team that ever beat him went to the World Series. Every single team that beat him went to the World Series.
And what does that say? He wasn't good enough.
It means that he did everything he could with a roster that he was given.
Jesse Winker in the play.
He did everything he could.
I'm just saying,
right, we're going to pick and choose starting decisions over 9 consecutive years of outperforming his win total.
This is the problem with Wisconsin sports fans, is that we get too satisfied with just being okay. I want to win championships. I want to win titles. The Milwaukee Bucks weren't satisfied with winning one title, so what did they do? They traded a fan favorite in Drew Holiday, somebody that helped them win a ring, to get more rings. It's not about, we made the playoffs 5 times, 6 times. No, it's about, and eventually you want to win a World Series title. And so if you choose to go to the Cubs, I'm going to choose to boo you because you didn't win a World Series. You can't sit here and leave me for the Cubs without giving me something that I always wanted. So for that, I just say, thanks.
He served out his contract. Right, exactly. Thank for your years. Play a nice video when the Cubs back into town. Give him a standing ovation for a minute and a half for all of the work he did, and then root for the Brewers to beat the Cubs every game.
He should be booed.
Just have some class.
No, the Brewers should have class. The fans, we don't need to have class because Chicago fans don't have class, and he just went to a classless organization.
All right,
who's mad at a person for almost hitting the ball? They hate Bartman. They hate goats.
Just text us either Kyle or Craig. I just am wondering where people stand on this as the wounds have maybe worn off a little bit over the last few weeks. But apparently not, and I don't expect them to. But just who's more right, Kyle or Craig? Hit us on the talk or text line right now. Just one word at 800, text to 800-990-3776, 800-990-3776. One word. Just text Kyle or Craig, and we'll share that along with our Palermo's picks when we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Q Club of Wisconsin is a hangout spot for watching sports, playing games, and having some drinks. Mike, what do you have going on over there?
That's right, Gary. We've got so much going on here. And of course, you know we're your home for green and gold games every week. Plus, book our VIP area for any of your parties, which includes a private pool table, 2 shuffleboard tables, and 4 dartboards. And of course, our fish fry piled high on Wednesdays and Fridays.
All happening at the Q Club of Wisconsin, North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Check out QClubofWisconsin.com.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee, the voice of Green Bay football. You know, fans count on me to make the right call every time, and I can continue to do that thanks to Summit Eye Care of Wisconsin. When my vision began to drift, my eye doctor said Summit Eye Care was the best place to go. Using the latest adjustable implants, the doctors at Summit were able to fine-tune my vision. In fact, my vision is now the best it's ever been. Summit Eye Care was the right call to help me see all the action on game days.
To schedule an appointment at one of their locations, visit summitiwi.com.
The next disaster is coming. Make a plan. Keep extra medication on hand. Make copies of important documents. Stay informed and be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.
Untethered, unfiltered, and unbothered.
That's what we need to do, is bust his head to the White Meat Show. Huh?
Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, presented by Bud Light, the official beer of the NFL.
Busting somebody's head to the White Meat Show? You know,
that's over my head, too.
Whatever white meat it is, we ain't talking about chicken meat.
Weekdays from 2 to 5, right here on 94.5 ESPN. And subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. The best source for every piece of NFL news you need to know.
I cannot imagine that there's any way that he missed the game because he's unhappy that the game was on turf. I think that's preposterous to me.
ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter is on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy every Wednesday morning at 7:30.
I thought they looked great. I got to be honest, I think that's what I kind of expected from the Packers.
Presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Also sponsored by Construction Business Group and Island Resort and Casino.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
I cannot every week. What are you adding?
I think your nickname is now the Crying Queen.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
Is that like the ABBA song Dancing Queen?
Yeah.
Just change the word.
Yeah.
Crying Queen.
You're so mean. You're the Crying Queen.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
And you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house. Baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out.
It's that time.
Yes, it's finally here.
Craig makes his picks of the week.
You can bet the house on it.
Picks of the week on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin. Presented by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Can't wait to see what happens next.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
All right, we got to hit this talk and text line. I like what Beanie had to say. I understand both of your perspectives, blind loyalty versus rational self-protection. But I have to say I'm completely with Kyle here. Also, congrats on your new show, Kyle. Much love to you both. That comes from Beanie. From the 414, Kyle. Austin in the 414, Craig. 414, Craig. Rob in a car, Kyle. In the 608, Craig. Person to be mad at is Mark Attanasio. Open your wallet. I'm surprised he hadn't left years ago. We're lucky to have good baseball. That is a mixed fan base there. Thanks to everyone jumping in on the talk and text line as we discussed Craig Counsell and his legacy. You can check that out on the podcast, Wisconsin On Demand, or wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you do, just go to Sunday Karma. All right. It's been a long time. Since we've looked at our cover five. Kyle, there's no way, as one of the worst producers, best hosts in the business, that you're prepared for this, are you?
Oh, no, I took a look earlier today, and then I just confirmed the numbers. The only thing is that we have a controversy because Alex Stroh told me he can't log into his app or something. Like, something happened, and I said, well, why don't you just reset your password? So does he still count? I feel like he should go eat, but somebody else needs to join him.
I mean, Alex...
Because he hasn't been making his pick, so he's just been getting like -5, so he claims.
I don't know. Alex isn't... I think we just throw him out of the contest.
He's dropped. He is dropped.
So he doesn't have to eat.
Mr. Irrelevant is now truly
He doesn't
irrelevant.
have to eat. I know that might put me in last. So what's the standings look like if we get rid of Alex Stroh?
So Brad is in first place with 139 points.
Brad Norman?
Yeah, Brad, I mean, he figured out how to play this game. That man is a genius. He was very, very smart. But all of a sudden, he turned it around. And somehow I'm in second place.
And this is cover 5, where you gain points when you cover the spread. You lose points when you don't cover the spread. So Brad Norman's first at 139 points. All right, then you're up next.
Somehow I am up next. I don't know how this happened, but I'm at 34.5, and I'm up next. Then it's Brian D in third place at 26.5. Gabe Neisel at 19.5. Then Ben Bruss at -8, and then you at -17.5. And Matt Hamilton and Jim Rutledge, they didn't get in on this year, did they?
No. Wait, so I'm in last?
You are in last place, yes.
Wait, is Tausch not in this?
No, Tausch never joined us.
Wow, so I'm in trouble here.
You are in trouble.
So it's me and Ben Brust. I'm at -17.5. He's at -8. Loser has to go to a diner for 24 hours minus any pancakes or waffles that they eat, and have no phone and technology for 24 hours outside of the social media that is shooting them during this 24 hours.
Would you be able to handle that?
I'm going to have to if I don't get the job done here. I got to turn this around. We don't have Homer in this. We don't have anybody else.
Yeah, Homer. A lot of people didn't. Homer didn't respond.
All right,
Tausch didn't respond.
We're in trouble.
His duties as well.
All right,
Jen. How's the progress going with Jen? Since you robbed me of my responsibility to try to get her to take the exam.
Oh yeah, we got it. Once college game day's over, we got it. We got it unlocked.
Where is she going to take it at?
We can't announce that yet. We'll have announcements coming up soon on Jen Latta taking the ACTs.
Well, I'm glad you got it going.
Based on her losing this contest last year. All right, let's get into it this year, and a small group of games, because we had a Thursday night game and the prime game on Friday. So not that many games to choose from. Let's start out with the highest profile game of the day. Of course, that would be in Carolina, where the Tennessee Titans take on the Carolina Panthers, right? Would that be the highest profile game?
I mean, based off what they have listed, I was like, woof, rough week.
I think Tennessee's, this is an opportunity for their offense to get a little right. I know on the road, it's tough to go and cover 5 with a team like this when they're favored by over a field goal, but I'll take Tennessee -3.5 at Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to go Tennessee, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina found a way to win. I mean, Mike Vrabel claimed he was going to put it on his shoulders and get this team turned around, but yeah, I'm going to go with Tennessee to cover as well.
All right, let's go to a battle for first place supremacy, potentially in the NFC South, as you have the Atlanta Falcons hosting the New Orleans Saints. If you look at all the coaches in the NFL, the coach who has the worst record as a favorite against the spread, none other than your head coach of the New Orleans Saints. That's enough for me. I'll take the Falcons as home dogs +1 point.
The problem is that Jameis Winston is a quarterback, and he is an absolute wild card. So you don't know what you're going to get because Carr is not back yet, correct?
Carr has been cleared.
Oh, he has been cleared. Oh, I'm going with the Saints then.
All right. Let's go over to a battle of 2 great quarterbacks as Tommy DeVito and Mac Jones lock horns in the Meadowlands, now known as Citi Field. I'm not going against Bill Belichick here. You know what? Backed into a corner. The Giants got 6 turnovers and a win against the Commanders this week. There's no way they're doing that again this week. I'll take the Pats as a road favorite this week.
The Patriots are so bad. They're terrible. And here's the thing. I believe in Saquon Barkley. So I believe that they're going to run the ball and they're going to win that game. They are going to pull off the upset and they're going to defeat the Patriots at home with Tommy DeVito.
Speaking of home underdogs, let's go to a battle of NFC West rivals that'll have everybody interested today as the Los Angeles Rams take on the Arizona Cardinals. I'll take the Cardinals and Kyler Murray plus the 1 point. They had a chance to win that game against the Texans in the last possession. They are 1-1 with Kyler Murray after being 1-8 before he came back. I'll take the Cardinals to win that game outright.
I think that the Rams are going to have an opportunity to win today. I believe Matt Stafford, he comes back today. He plays today.
He's back. He's been back.
Played last week.
Yep.
And then Kyren Williams, the running
is back as well.
Is back this week. So they got the whole band together this year. So I think the Rams are going to go on the road and win.
And my final Cover 5 selection, we're going to go out to Minnesota.
Oh, I forgot we're supposed to be playing this music.
There you go. Worst producer, best host in the business, Kyle Wallace.
Got to get the rust off me.
Monday Night Football. We saw the Minnesota Vikings unable to get it done on Sunday Night Football against the Broncos. We know Kirk Cousins never got it done on primetime. Well, he wasn't the only one a part of that team. I think this is the Justin Fields coming out party. Take the Chicago Bears plus 3.5, and what that will do is that will put your Green Bay Packers squarely back in the playoff mix with a loss by the Vikings there, taking them to 6-6. Take the Bears to win it outright plus the 3.5.
Am I supposed to be picking my own games or following you?
You're supposed to be picking your own games.
Oh, okay. I've just been following you because I've already picked my games, and most of these games are completely different. I'm going to go with my own game is that I think that the Cleveland Browns go down to Denver, and they actually cover. I believe the Cleveland Browns cover at Denver at -2.5. The Browns won last week against the Steelers.
Backup quarterback for the Browns, obviously, with Deshaun Watson out for the year.
So I'm going with them.
Let's hit a few of these better games, though. And Steelers-Bengals, very interesting with Browning in for Burrow. Basically the Bengals fighting for their playoff lives. Shows you the difference between the conferences. Bengals at 5-5, basically done if they lose to the Steelers today. So that's an interesting one at home with Browning getting his first start. A really, really good game in Philly today as the Bills go to the Eagles. I could see the Bills pulling this upset here.
I think the Bills do go to Philadelphia and pull off the upset. Philly's coming off that high of that game
short
last
week. I just think the short week coming off Monday Night Football is tough. That's why.
They have so much to prove, and Buffalo has to win this game. They have to win this football game.
I feel like it matters a lot more to the Bills than it does to the Eagles in that one. And then finally, Sunday Night Football is a great one. Ravens, who have passed a lot of tests this year, against the L.A. Chargers, who looking to rebound from that Packers loss. What do you think on that one?
L.A. Chargers don't rebound. That's one thing I learned last week. I thought my Packers were all in disarray. Boy, oh boy, those Chargers, they're in even worse disarray. They are not going to beat the Ravens just because they don't know how to win.
They are 4-6. Yeah, I think this is a good Lamar kind of MVP talk coming after this game, right? We don't have a clear-cut MVP in this league this year, right?
Not at all. They're talking about a rookie being an MVP, so no.
Right,
no clear-cut MVP.
Tua, that talk is gone. Stroud talk is still there. Mahomes is always in the mix. Hurts is not having a great year, but Hurts has got to be one of the favorites now coming off that win. But I think if Lamar Jackson is a big game Sunday Night Football, I think that's your favorite for MVP coming off Sunday Night Football. It was so wonderful to be back with you all. Thank you for being part of Sunday Karma. We appreciate you all. It's been too long. We'll see you again in another 9 weeks. We back next week? Do we know? Who knows?
I don't. What time the Packers play? Maybe the Packers. Oh, I'll be in Green Bay, so I don't know what they got my plan.
Who knows?
I don't know what they're gonna have me doing.
Next week, Sunday Night Football for the Green Bay Packers should be a very, very exciting week leading up to that. Coming off Badger, Packer, 2 weeks in a row of winning football. Yeah.
Gotta figure out where I'm gonna be at.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you to stay healthy, stay together, survive today, thrive tomorrow. Don't settle. Enjoy Jonathan Taylor versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming up. You've been listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin. Kyle, send us out.
Peace.
This is ESPN Wisconsin and ESPNWisconsin.com.
This is the sound of a Festival Foods grocery cart on the move. You don't hear it? That's because Festival Foods carts don't squeak. A squeak-free cart may seem like a small thing, but if it helps make your visit better, it's a big deal to us. Because helping our guests is what makes us feel good. Do you hear that? Now there's 2 of them. Festival Foods. Happy to help.
Set your game plan for a new baseball season with the 2024 Brewers 4-Pack. Don't wait. Get yours by November 27th and get a 5th game added to your plan for free. That's 4 action-packed plan choices, your first chance at the best seats, and a bonus Brewers game free for early buyers. Plus, each pair of a 4-pack comes with a Brewers knit hack. Act now and